Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Morning, kids. Old, tired Cappy. Are you tired? Are you, Cappy? Become an old, tired Cappy. Oh. Alright. assholeconsulting.com. Go there if you have questions. Where I, America's older brother and the world's only professional asshole, will give you the swift kick in the ass that you need of truth and reality so that your life might be better than had you based your decisions in the lies and deceits and propaganda that you're told by your teachers and guidance counselors, professors, and parents. Zach writes, there are plenty of times you have blunt guidance for those on the age of 35. In my opinion, it is frequently useful advice. Don't get me wrong. You can't bat 1,000. Please watch this Paul Elam video about men of his age cohort and provide your response. Please let me know your price. And this links to a video by Paul called Are Millennial Men Useless? So it isn't about his age cohort, it's about the millennials, but it's in perspective to his age cohort. Now, I'll summarize it, I'll provide the link down below, but basically what the video is Paul had a reader that wrote him an email, not even criticized, everything's very polite and civil here, so there was no like, it's just, he's basically, look, Paul, I know you give this advice to men of all ages, but it's advice typically helps younger men because they have more time to act on it and have it bear fruit. But your advice of put yourself first, work hard, avoid divorce-prone women, have pride, don't let with blah, 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 is not applicable to the millennial generation. And the writer goes on to say that all that advice, or most of that advice, would fall flat, fall on deaf ears, because these guys are inherently lazy. They are guilty of not manning up. They are guilty of being neats. They are guilty of being basement dwellers and all that. And in the real world, or in the world that Paul Elam lives in, the advice he's giving is for real men, or young men or boys who aspire to be real men and have the work ethic, intention, and desire to become real men, whereas that just isn't the case with most millennials and now Gen Z boys. So his conclusion was that the problem that young men in general face is largely brought on by themselves. They're lazy, they have no work ethic, they don't hit the gym. Some of the similar criticisms that I have, and they have absolutely no desire for self-improvement to actually go and become a man. Elam's response, which you can listen, and I strongly recommend you do. I know it's an extra 11 minutes out of your life, but if you learn how to convert video to MP3, you can just listen to your headphones, and you save a lot of time. He is saying that it is not necessarily their choice to become lazy. It's not that they consciously are inept. They are the byproduct of single moms, broken families, absentee fathers, and Paul really goes harshly after absentee dads. Because the thing that he is real pissed off about is how previous generations of men, fathers, failed current and young and future generations of men by not standing up to feminism, not being men and installing masculine virtues, not being men themselves. He was real harsh. And I happen to agree 100% with Paul. For the most part, previous generation of men were laughable. You can't even call them men. But Paul's larger point was that they did nothing to stop feminism. They never went to a PTA meeting. A great point right there. I remember, your parents are practically absent. School can today get away with whatever the hell it wants. I'm appalled that, if I had a kid in the public schools and they come home, Garage Logic, which is a show that I listened to here, what comes home in a backpack? And it's left-wing propaganda, anti-male privilege. I'd get up there and I would be so far up the principal's ass, I would ream a manure on her. I said, I will come back here every motherfucking time you come up with some left-wing propaganda bull. You are doing reading, writing, and arithmetic, then I will pull my fucking kid out. But fathers don't do that. Fathers, they're spineless. And this in part prompted me to write an article, How Conservative Fathers Failed America. You can find on my blog. So it is that the reason I'm telling you that is to show you that this is that good of a video. It's a very interesting discussion to have. And there is actually kind of no right or wrong. I'm just going to be providing my opinion or addition. It's not even mutually exclusive or against one another. It's not really a clear pro or con in this particular debate. But in short, what he pointed out is that fathers, masculine men, real heroic men, they just let feminism from the 60s and 70s run roughshod over the future 2 or 3 generations of boys that came forth. And a lot of it is because men were spineless. I don't want to get divorced. A lot because men were lazy. I highlight that in my article. And another thing that I don't think he pointed out, nor I pointed out in my article, just dawned on me, a lot of these guys wanted the pussy. These guys didn't want to, we just should ship off kids to daycare. And Dr. Spock, not from Star Trek, a child psychologist, we government check is just as good as a father. I'm with you, girl, down with you. Yeah, hey, you want to get together and do some doobie? Because that's what they did in the 60s and 70s. So that's basically what it was, is that he kind of forgives the millennial boys their current situation because they're shipped out to daycare, they're shipped out to public schools. The dad was nowhere around. Even if the dad was present, the dad was just this henpecked, ball-busted shell of a man, not a real man. And, well, what did you think was going to happen? So, surprise, surprise. So, I don't necessarily disagree with either of them because both men are right. Because you can't, we're not talking about one millennial guy. There's tens of millions of millennials. And there are some millennial boys and girls that kick a lot of ass, take a lot of names, are going to do a hell of a lot better than I did. And I know some. I know this one guy in particular. He raises, God, his kid's sharp. Always beats me in poker. And his nice wife, too. She beats me in poker, too, because they cheat. They cheat. That's how they do it. But they're a rare minority. And then the vast majority of them somehow fall into, they are not doing as well. The millennials as a generation are doing, I think, horrible compared to all other generations. But are they lazy? Are they consciously lacking in work ethic? Do they know, I don't have to work hard, Or are they unconscious about it? Are they 100% the product and result of piss-poor parenting or absentee parenting or a lack of parenting or a lack of fathers, a lack of masculine influence, and they're completely helpless? And I say there's both. There's both. There are some millennials who they never stood a shot. They never stood a shot. Dad was gone. Mom was a crazy. I had this client at Asshole Consulting. He was an East Indian, and he was adopted by a middle-aged white woman, and she was going to teach him. She didn't love the kid. It was sad. There was no love in this relationship. She didn't want to save this guy from poverty in India. She didn't want to help raise him become the best guy. It was a thing to her. It was a entity or product or toy even by which she could spew her feminism. She was a huge feminist, and the dude doesn't have a big enough hurdle being an East Indian guy in the United States, okay? In terms of dating, I mean, if you look at the OkCupid study, East Indians fall dead last in terms of sought afterness. I think it's white males and then Latinos or something like that. But dead last at that is the East Indian guys. And now here you have this guy who's been brought up to be a putz. And that's how he seeked me out. He's like, I'm like, okay. And he finally discovered the red pill community. And so we're going to turn him around and get him back up and running. So that's where he is a true byproduct of his environment, and I would say is completely innocent. But I think the majority of people, and this is just the old captain's thing, deep down inside, no matter what your upbringing, you know what's right or wrong. You know what you should be doing. And this is where I'm very harsh because my philosophy in approaching consulting clients, I don't do the excuses or my mom or I have this or I have ADHD. It's like, no, you all do that. Most of you all do that because you're lazy and you don't want to work hard. Period. That solves and explains so much sociological, economic, and political phenomenon. It's crazy. And we don't want to bust some kid's balls to make him or her work hard. We just don't want to. We don't want to cause people harm, and people certainly don't want to cause themselves harm or discomfort that comes typically through labor. So deep down inside, though, I believe. How do you not figure that out? How do you not figure that out? Here's this lazy millennial staying at home, living at his parents at the age of 27. Don't tell me, you're this educated, critical-minded, independent thinker. Oh, you're just so intelligent. You're so educated. Okay, you're so intelligent. You're so critical thinking. You're such an independent-minded person. Do you really think this is a good situation? Do you really think you should be living at home at 27? Are you not a parasite? And that's well, I'm and then the excuses. Then the excuses that they're immediately conditioned to come up. Well, I'm oppressed. I'm disadvantaged. I have the ADHDs. I have the Asperger's. I have the autisms. I come from a lower socioeconomic background. I'm black. I'm white. I'm Asian. I'm female. I'm transgender. I'm pansexual. I'm sapiosexual. All the list of excuses and bullshit just so you don't have to work come into play. And there's rarely been because I've seen it. There's rarely been an instance. Because I got people my age now, friends, they're starting to have kids. I'm like, have you ever told me to get a job or you kick his ass out? Oh, we gotta love him too. Oh, you love him so much, you'll debilitate him with crippling levels of not government handouts but parental handouts. Whether it's a government check or a parental check, it doesn't matter. You spoil your kid rotten, and spoiling rotten is the key thing there. And then if you ever kick the kid's ass, I mean, they'll throw a temper tantrum and get pissed off, but they'll come around because they have to. Otherwise, they'll starve. So I think deep down inside, rarely seen a neat somebody living at home with his parents, some lazy piece of shit that wouldn't have the problem solved if the father grew a pair and grew a spine and went in, kicked the kid's ass, say, you're getting a job, I'm going to kick you out, and then you follow up with it. And you don't have mommy come to the rescue. But this lends credence to Elam's point. What percentage of men actually have the balls in the spine to force their kids to be independent? See, it's not love. This is the number one thing you understand about modern day parenting. There is no love. There is conflict avoidance. There is laziness. There is sloth. Parents, just like their kids, are lazy. And especially the fathers, they don't want to man up and actually spank, discipline, hold down laws, lay down laws, enforce punishment. That's hard. That's being the bad cop. It's easy to be the good cop. Well, then you shouldn't have had kids if you don't want to be the bad cop, if you don't want to be a dad. And so, where's I going with this? So that laziness stays embedded and imbued, is allowed to fester, and the kid will never grow because the dad never comes in and does the hard part of parenting, and that is kicking ass and holding the kids to standards. And so, again, lending credence to Paul's argument or point, it's not an argument, it's true. Most fathers today are lazy. Most fathers today are cowards. Most fathers today have no spine because they don't want to do the hard work of parenting. And I see it. Oh my God. If you thought the baby boomers were bad, wait till you see the Gen X kids. I see these kids running around, spitting on wall. I was at a party once, a Christmas party, Thanksgiving party, something. 5, 6 kids running around. And what was amazing is not watching the kids run around. Kids are going to run around. They're kids. Is like 3 sets of parents. Stop running, stop running, stop running, stop running, stop running, stop running. 18 hours later, stop running, stop running. Or my favorite, we don't do that. Yeah, a little 2-year-old, 3-year-old kid's going, we don't do that in our house. Well, 1, it ain't your house, and 2, the kid ain't listening. And just the flagrant metaphorical finger the kids were giving to the parents. You want to know why? Because not one of the fathers was going to go in there, grab their kid, and spank it till it limped. They don't want to, because they don't got the balls. And that's hard. That's hard. And so I can see where if that happened for 30 years, you never held your kids to standards, the guy or the gal might start developing a brain that is not capable of understanding work ethic. But, dude, my God almighty, all you have to do is grab that kid once, spank it so it limps on its left leg. I guarantee you the kid won't do it again. Hell, I even got one kid, I just pinched his shoulder because he was jumping up and down. He's like, you're hurting. I'm like, yeah, stop jumping up and down and relax. And guess what the kid did? Oh my God, he calmed down and relaxed. It didn't hurt the kid. Kid's fine. But instead they said, well, we just like to reward and with cake and circus and puppies. Kind of like, the woman, and we're going to do the motherly thing and bride. Please, we don't do that in our house. So these kids know. I think every human knows when they are wrong, when they're parasitic, and when they're being lazy. And the human mind will come up with the most amazing of explanations as to why they're married, as to why they're lazy and not getting a job. The Democrats and the Democrat Party, but the people who vote for the Democrat, they're amazing. I'm female, I'm oppressed, the patriarchy, ceiling, glass ceiling, this, that, racism, discrimination, and just like, oh, if you spend half the energy you did complaining about that stuff, getting a doctorate in engineering, you'd have like $1 million by now. So I am fully, thoroughly convinced that the majority of these people, the majority of millennial boys, know exactly what they're doing. Ain't none of you kicked their asses yet. That's it. That's all it is. Because being a father is, I don't even think being a father is hard. It's almost natural. I'm not even a dad. I'm like, I can spank you, kid. You're not my kid, but I'll spank you, but I don't because they're not my kids. But it's kind of like this natural thing. Get over here. Whap. Now sit down and brush your teeth. I would make a great father. Cap it. Daddy Cappy. Daddy Cap. Daddy Cap. Gather around, kids, for the beatings and the spankings. All right, now we're going to read Economics in One Lesson by Larry Hazlitt. I'm just going through my notes here. All right, so deep down inside, I think everybody's lazy. But the larger question is this. We can debate chicken, egg, consciously lazy or unconsciously lazy, their fault or not their fault. But their poor upbringing or not, it doesn't matter. Someday, if humanity expects to continue, it doesn't matter whether you came from a poor upbringing or an absentee father or not. You got to take control of your own life. You have to take ownership and responsibility for your own life and become a self-supporting individual. Oh, we could play the game. We've had several generations of welfare families just living. You could get away with it for a little bit, but over the long term, if we expect humanity to continue, you cannot be raising parasites. You cannot be raising NEETs. You cannot be raising basement dwellers. And so, whether you had a broken family or not, and I remember this was in the 5th grade, I'm like, I'm not getting out of this household or making money relying on my family. Certainly not going to happen at school. I didn't have the concept of government checks because we weren't parasites. I got to do it on my own. And so at the 5th grade, I remember making a very conscious decision. I'm going to get better grades. I'm going to go do something with myself. I don't know what. But I'm going to try, and I'm not going to do this scheming, parasiting, living, and bumming. And I would start working. 2 years later, I was working at a greenhouse, making my own money. But that's pretty young, I suppose, at the 5th grade. Some people never get to that point. They just, I deserve a government check because I'm oppressed because of this reason, that reason, and that reason. But the larger point is that your success is ultimately going to be determined by you and your individual decisions. At what age that becomes expected that you have that epiphany and that realization, or you start taking ownership for your actions, I don't know. But I would certainly say by the age of 18, you're legally an adult. Legally, you are by that time responsible, and you have to own up to your own decisions. That is definitely a hard limit. Like if you said, you're 18, I'm like, 18, why are you at home? 18, why are you doing this? I can understand why you're living at home to save money on tuition and all that. But no, you are making your own money. You are paying rent to your parents. You are helping out at the house. You are making it so you are not a burden upon your parents anymore. But self-ownership, when you start becoming responsible for your actions and decisions, I would say around 12, maybe 13. You certainly know right from wrong by the age of 12. I have a cop buddy who was telling me about a 8-year-old that stabbed another 9-year-old or something like that, and they can't press charges because the 8-year-old, according to law, does not have the capacity for self-awareness, or some legal term he had. And I can almost go with that, like, well, an 8-year-old knows you shouldn't be stabbing people. But by 12 or 13, you should know not to stab people. You know whether you're being a lazy bum. You know whether you're cheating on your spelling test. And I would say at that point, that's when you start, in the olden days, you'd start having a part-time job or you'd babysit. It's not coincidentally timed. But the larger point is, by the time you are a legal adult, it is moot whether or not you came from a bad family, whether your dad was there to raise you or not, or whether you had the perfect June Award Cleaver family with great moral lessons at the end of every episode. And I know it's going to be harder. It certainly is harder when you don't have a functional family, when you have a non-nuclear family, when you have your single mom. Oh, especially the poor guy where the mom's just indoctrinating you. A lot of you guys got to worry about that. But, and I hate to sound so harsh, but tough shit for you. It sucks. Those are the crap. You got dealt 7 and 2s, mismatched in poker. You got the worst hand possible, right? Too bad you're still in this game. I know those cards suck. That's too bad. You still have to play this game, right? And God almighty, could you imagine what it was like being brought up as a kid in the 60s or 70s under some tyrannical leftist feminist single mom? Or if you had an abusive father? Right? You didn't even have the internet. Now, it's not a perfect substitute, and Elam alludes to this. He's like, look, at least nowadays, you have the Red Pill community, you have the Manosphere, you have websites like Return of Kings, you have books, Paul's site, look up Paul Elam. I know a lot of people have a lot of issues with him, but he's been fair and just to me. There is more information and wisdom now available on the internet for young men and women to get that their absentee father was never going to provide. You get more information and wisdom on the internet now than even a good father can provide, because it's coming from all sectors and quadrants, all different, on pretty much any and every topic. Past 10 years has just been this recompilation of what the library in Alexandria, what was the library in Egypt that the Muslims so conveniently destroyed? It wasn't the Muslims, that doesn't matter. And it's not a substitute. It's nowhere near good a substitute as a father. It isn't. But at least you're not lost. If you want to look up anything on the internet, like, what should I study in college? It's there. If you want to find out how do I attract women, it's there. I mean, there's many different opinions, but it's there. You're not this kid who's being completely propagandized by your mother saying, women like a sensitive man who's caring and holds their bags and all that other bull. It's not there. No. I mean, well, that's there. You go to, Claire. But it is not a secret anymore that the wisdom that fathers would normally pass on to their children is not available for free for those of you without fathers. Those of you who are brought up under single mother households. And it's, again, not a perfect substitute, but it's better than nothing and wandering around in the desert. And besides which, that point is moot. It's academic. You don't have a choice. You do have to man up. You do have to live this life. You do have to own up to yourself. So whether you're lazy consciously or lazy unconsciously, whether you come from a broken home and it was truly crippling and debilitating, or you know exactly what you're doing and you're just playing it, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If you keep going down that route, doesn't matter how you got lazy and self-pitying, you're going to go down a route of poverty and misery. Probably an early life expectancy. Or you can man up and get the wisdom from the internet or your father, track down your father, it doesn't really matter now at this point, and go down a trajectory that's much better, much more profitable, much happier, much more rewarding in life. And so, again, as to who's right and who's wrong, neither of them are wrong. They're both right because there's different types of groups of men. The only thing I would add to this discussion that they are having is that we can argue how boys came to this level of being crippled, having no work ethic, staying at home, being loose. We can argue that. My point is, going forward, we got to get it instilled in their heads. They don't have a choice. They do not have a choice. Okay? If you are 30 and living at home, you are more than a third dead for the average man, and you have wasted your youth. Your youth is pretty much gone. The question is, what do you want to do with the remaining 2/3? This is when I got the life improvement plan, which I still offer, but I'm realizing it's almost impossible. It's the threat of death, not that I'm going to kill him, but the threat that you're mortal and finite and you're going to die. I'm like, look, you've pissed away your life this way. You're not really happy. You're pissed off. Do you want to waste the remaining 2/3 of your life this way? Well, this is the way you go. Oh, it's hard. Yeah, it is hard. Yeah, it is hard. But you've been avoiding hard the entire time. And I'll tell you right now, this is why I have the hard way and the harder way. There is no easy way. The hard way is majoring in engineering, working hard, keeping your debt low, spending within your means, and then retiring at about 60. The really hard way is avoiding the hard work up front, avoiding biting that bullet, lollygagging around in college in worthless froofy-frou degrees, then having to go get a master's degree because your current, creative writing degree doesn't, and then you get your master's in English, and then you go teach part-time at the local community college for $18 an hour, and then you got to supplement it with being a barista, and then you bitch and whine how it's patriarchy, or we didn't spend enough on education, and soon you're a 58-year-old who finally finished off her master's in public health administration with $500,000 in student loans, and you have to reverse mortgage your house because there ain't no way in hell you're going to retire. Which route do you want, guys? Which one? That's the harder way. And that's the way, ironically, most dumb people choose. So that's why we're here on the interwebs. That's why you got guys like Paul Elam. That's why you got Return of Kings. That's why you got Way of Men with Jack Donovan. That's why I wrote Badge Pad Economics. That's why there's Rollo over at the Rational Mail. That's why there's Chateau Hartis. That's why there's all these websites and resources and videos that constitute the Red Pill community, or the Manosphere, if you will. Oh, Sandman too. You got to shout out to Sandman. So I think it's academic, the conversation we're having, because the desire to be lazy is strong. Oh, is it strong? And when these people deep down inside consciously choose that because it's free money, you're basically trying to fight against their Darwinistic biological drive. The human brain, this frontal part, is all nice and philosophical and forward-looking and existential, and let's talk about life and philosophy. It's only been here for maybe 2 million years of human life, or life on the planet. You take the 50 million years, I think Neanderthals have been around. Humans have been evolving. Well, humans have only been on the planet for 2 million years. And 99.9% of this thing up here is all about living and surviving till the next day. And so that's really hard to override and overprogram with this little frontal part here of your brain. And that's what you're going up against instinct. And most people, and this is true about most people aren't that smart. They aren't. Compared to apes, they are, but compared to the average, most humans just want to collect a government check. They want free shit, and they don't want to work. And that's fine. This is why you look. You want the empirical evidence. As I say, go outside and walk around, and one day consciously focus on how many fat people there are. All right? Don't look at the good-looking people. That's where everybody goes and looks at the good-looking people. I want you to look at the normal people, and you're going to find out, holy cow, they're fat. It's because they're lazy. Because laziness is like the default superior survival mechanism. Expend less calories of energy, consume as much as possible. Just like a dog. Put them in front of a bowl. That's like dogs. Dogs are at least honest about it. Dogs are like, yeah, I'll eat that steak. I know the steak's bigger than me, but I will eat that steak. I don't care if I will eat that steak. Humans are the only ones like, I'm big and beautiful. I'm hot. Beauty, I'm fat. So that is kind of the way humans choose consciously. And so I know we can put up articles, we can put up videos like this for posterity's sake, and to help be beacons for those few men and women that actually want to improve, to explain what's going on. And you can even hear it in Paul's voice. I kind of feel bad for him. He's just like, God, he's kind of like defeated or sad that there is this problem that so many millennial boys and girls have wasted lives. But Paul, read the book, Enjoy the Decline. Come on, don't worry, that's their life. That's the way it's going to go. And it's hard to do that. It's really hard to let go and not keep cheering on society, because that's all you got to cheer on. But when you look at how society, they're going to choose to go this route. Instead of hitting the gym and eating healthy, the boys are going to eat Doritos and drink their Mountain Dews and tell how much they hate women on the internet on MGTOW forum. Women are going to eat and shave their head and dye the other half purple and get tatted up sleeves and nose piercings, and they're going to get worthless degrees and then tell everybody how the reason they don't make as much money as men is because of patriarchy. And you could try and fight it, but I've found that is an even worse punishment than just going through life. Life is already set on hard. You don't need to go to extreme mode trying to save fools who don't want to be saved and deep down inside know what they're doing. So, all right, that's it. You guys got questions? Captain's got answers over at asolconsulting.com. Tune in to the Older Brother podcast every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central. We're going to be broadcasting tonight. You can go to olderbrother.com. Well, that website's kind of under construction, but just search Older Brother on YouTube, and you can listen to it on YouTube. And then the RSS feed is at the same RSS feed that the Clary podcast is on. Just search the Clary podcast. You'll find it on RSS. And then I have a bunch of other books and things and stuff. Check out the links down below. Do your Amazon shopping. There's a Patreon. Everything's down below. So if you want to help out the old captain, or please forward and share this video if you found it useful to some young men and women, that'd be much appreciated. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.